So it's just a bar cooler. How hard do you think it can be? This is going to be an interesting one, so buckle up and come along for the ride.
This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
I'm working on this bar cooler today. I had another technician over here because on install, we didn't do the install. They had a construction company and the beverage people do the install. But on install, they broke this temperature controller. So we ordered a temp control and we put it on. And my service technician, when he came out to put the temp control on, he said, "Hey dude, something's wrong with the way they ran these beer lines. That's the discharge air. You can't run the beer lines in the discharge air. It's gonna be 10 to 15 degrees below set point being 34 degrees. So let's get behind here. They drilled a giant hole in the back of the box. Let me get all this stuff undone. This is kind of ridiculous. I'm not messing around on this guy. It's a water hose over here. I don't have time. It's Saturday morning. It's gonna make a mess, but it's all right. I turned off power. Just let it drain out through there instead of overflowing in the box. But yeah, this is not looking promising the way they drilled a bunch of holes in the back of the system right there. I'm a bit dumbfounded right now. So they just drilled a bunch of holes and didn't insulate them, running through the side of the box over here. This is an empty void, and then it goes into this region over here. I can hear the air, the fan motors from this box in this box, meaning that whatever, I don't know if there's a channel or what that is. Looks like they put some spray foam, but I can look back there. I can hear the fan from the other unit. It's not foamed right. Like, this isn't right. Nothing about this is right. This is gonna freeze these lines. This is insane. This is discharge air. It sucks in here and blows out the top of the coil. All these lines are gonna freeze. My God, these people. Like, not to mention, if I ever have to change this evap coil or the TXV behind it, which is very common, you gotta take all this stuff out and the whole thing pulls forward. These guys ruined this box. And the refrigeration lines, the propane refrigeration lines are right there. What are the odds they didn't hit the lines when they drilled that 6-inch hole in the back of the box? I can't show it on camera, but I stuck my hands back in there and I can feel a giant opening. Like, they want to know why this thing ices up every other day. Here's your sign. I pulled this cover off. They do have a channel back here. It's a tube, but it's not really insulated very well. You know, just some foam tape right in here. This isn't the greatest, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But like, yeah, there's holes through here. They've got the unit plugged into an extension cord splitter. That seems safe. Oh yeah, look at that. That's okay, right? My gosh, man. All right, we're gonna turn this guy back on. I put it all back together. So basically, they've routed the beer lines. They're pushing down on this motor. They're rubbing on the coil, but they're in the discharge air. And this unit is not a very awesome unit. I don't like it in general because it draws air in through the fan motor and then just naturally, because there's nowhere else for it to go, it goes under the evaporator. You know what though? Wait a minute. Is there something missing here? Oh. I think they took something out because there's nothing stopping. I think there's supposed to be a deflector in here. Deflecting the air. Oh, I swear to you, there's supposed to be a deflector in here. I just realized that. It draws air in, it goes under the evaporator, then it's forced out on the top, you know, through the evaporator and then out through here. But I gotta go watch a video because I just made a video on one of these. I think there's a deflector missing out of this. I think they took it out so they can run their beer lines.
All right, so I went and reviewed some footage from a previous video, and this is a screenshot of the deflector that is supposed to be there. And that deflector blocks the evaporator, allowing the return air to go underneath, and then it shoots the discharge air out the top, allowing it to go, you know, on top of the deflector so that way the airs don't mix.
Yeah, I just realized what they did wrong. I just watched one of my previous videos where I just worked on one of these. There's a giant deflector that basically goes down at an angle behind the fan motor and directs this return air underneath the coil, and then it's forced out the top of the coil. And without that deflector, what's happening is the coil's not getting proper airflow, and it's just like, you know, recirculating air. The air's not getting behind it, so it's freezing up. And also there's supposed to be a channel coming out the top of here that extends out a couple inches that helps to direct the air past this evaporator fan motor for the return path. So the installers threw that away. My gosh, this is epic, because they're dying right now. They just had this reach and installed, and guaranteed that piece ain't coming for a week or two from Glass Tender. Like, I can't get a hold of them this weekend. They're gonna have to 86 all their beers for the weekend, because this thing's just gonna ice up every 5 minutes. I'm wondering if I can do something with cardboard or something, which would be shady as fudge, but I wonder if I can make it work. I'm gonna pull this back out again. I'm gonna try my best to help this customer out. I got my inner MacGyver going on. Piece of cardboard, some duct tape for rigidity, then some metal clad aluminum tape or whatever. Make myself a temporary baffle, pretty sturdy, because I was worried the cardboard would just absorb all the moisture and then just disintegrate or fall in the fan motor. So let's see if I can make this work as a temporary baffle. I'm gonna make the beer company rip out all the freaking beer lines. This is gonna be epic. Well, I mean, it's MacGyver stuff. This is literally just temporary until the beer company comes in here and figures out a new place for the lines, because they can't go. Here's what happened. This is the old style cooler that they replaced. This one had a different setup. There was a big empty void on the top of the box. So not that I like it, but they ran their beer lines up top and it was no big deal. So they thought that the new one, which was a total different airflow setup, they could just take that baffle out, throw it away, not say anything to anybody, and then just, you know, everything will work hunky-dory. I'm surprised I caught it right now. And I'm not upset with my other technician for not catching it, because, you know, you don't think about that stuff. I was just explaining to my camera. Had I not been talking to you guys, explaining how the airflow works, I probably wouldn't have caught that issue. Maybe I would have, I don't know. But yeah, they took out a whole entire baffle, took screws out and everything. That's insane. This is so epic. So we have a definite separation between return and supply now. So 51 degrees return temp. I've got a 51 degree return temp on my smart probes and a 26 degree supply temp. So those beer lines are totally gonna freeze. So the box isn't gonna ice up anymore, but the beer lines are gonna be frozen by the end of the day. The other thing though too is like this thing is not even really sitting in here. Like, it's ridiculous, man. I'm dumbfounded by this install. What they're gonna have to do, this is what I'm gonna recommend to them, because their beer lines aren't gonna work and there's not enough room behind the box to run the lines out the back. So what they're gonna have to do is this cooler right here is gonna have to be swapped with this cooler. This cooler, they're both the same length. So this cooler comes over here, so that way the condenser goes on the right side, right? This cooler goes over there, so that way the condenser goes on the left side. Then they can drill their hearts away through the sides, because there won't be condenser space there, and we can get them a proper channel made. I don't know how much I want to get involved in this. See, my problem is I don't do these installs. First off, I wouldn't do the beer lines, but the customer would love if I would run these jobs for them. But I don't really like doing night work, and I don't have a crew for it. It takes 10 guys to lift these units over this bar top. Right here, there's a big bar top right here. And it takes up to 10 guys, sometimes more, because you got to lift it over without damaging the bar top. I don't have that crew. I'm 4 guys with myself. Like, you know, we don't do this stuff, but I'm just dumbfounded that these guys just think that they can remove stuff, you know, like, and just throw it away without saying anything. Like, this is insane. Another thing that happened too, I mentioned that we had to change a temp control. So they broke the front cover completely, okay? And they didn't tell us, but they took the cover off the old unit. And you can tell because there's rust down there at the bottom of the cover. So what they did was they took the cover, they shoved the new control in it, but when they did that, there's a piece that protects the control right here. A channel that runs all the way over here and protects the control from getting wet. And that piece is missing now too. So we're gonna order that inner baffle. We're gonna order this whole new cover right here with that channel that covers the temp control. Like, this is just insane. And to think, these people are legally allowed to breed. You know what I'm saying? Like, still not enough. I've also gotta, it's still getting recirced air, so I gotta cover this space. There's a space right on top I'll have to cover that. This is getting ridiculous, what I'm having to do. And these beer lines are super cold. So I'm gonna have to like tape all these beer lines together, hope that those seal off that little space right there, and then make another space and tape it to the top of this coil cover. This is insane what I'm having to do here. All this so they can serve some beer. Like, why? I guess I'm just gonna be the hero here. This is just insane. That looks a little better, and that makes sense. We've got about a 10-degree separation between supply and return. So, interesting. So I think that maybe that coil was just getting too cold because it was frosting up and it was still having mixing of the return and supply. So let's see if this box comes down to temp now. It's at 47 right now. I just got in there, defrosted that little bit of frost, put some more tape on there, and I'm gonna watch it for a few more minutes. All right, we are doing good now. It's down to temp. It's not frosted up anymore. We've got a good temperature differential. So I'm gonna contact the powers that be and talk to them about permanent solutions to this. But what a cluster, right?
That was interesting, right? Like sometimes it can be difficult, right? But sometimes these really difficult, frustrating calls can be some of the best memories. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but after the fact, you get a dopamine release when you solve a problem, okay? I was frustrated. I sent another service technician out there, and I was thinking that maybe something was done wrong, but nothing was done wrong, okay? We did everything right. And I absolutely do not fault the other service technician for not catching the fact that that baffle was missing, because why would you think a baffle was missing? If I wasn't explaining it to my phone, I'm pretty confident that I would have gotten another call back on it, right? And then I would have probably gone out the third time and been like, what is going on? And then I would have realized that there's an actual piece missing to the unit that someone just took out. Like, what? Like, this is what I don't understand. What goes on in someone's brain? When I said that it was dumbfounded that these people are allowed to breed, I'm dead serious. What goes through someone's brain? Something came on a unit. It had 4 screws holding it in. And they think, let's just get rid of it because it's in my way. I'm sorry. That is just, there's not even a word for that. That is just, I don't even know what to say. It's just ridiculous, okay? Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of this these days. It really is a bummer. I wish I could have more people working for me, but it's not that easy, okay? I'm very, very concerned about the quality of work that I put out there. And I have to make sure that my employees are putting out high quality work. And in the past, the more employees that I have, the more difficult it is to control how the company is running and how things go. So I keep it small. I keep it small because I want my customers to have the utmost satisfaction with the kind of work that we do, okay? In a perfect world, I run these jobs for them, okay? But I really don't care to do night work, because here's my dilemma with night work. It's probably going to be me that goes out there and does this night work, okay? Or me and another technician, right? But we would have to have a crew of people there. So more than likely, I'd still have to have the construction crew come out, and I would literally just be supervising their work, okay? Doesn't sound like a bad gig, right? You get paid overtime to sit there and watch a construction crew lift a box over, you help them lift it, you do whatever. But then I'm not available to work the next day, okay? Because if I'm at this site supervising everything that the construction crew and the beverage people do, then I'm there till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And then I leave and I go home and I sleep and I don't get to work the next day. I work almost every day at my service company. In fact, a good majority of the time, I'm putting in more hours than all of my employees, okay? Because I'm still a principal service technician at the service company that I run, okay? Now, some people may say that's bad. That's a wrong way to run a business. Go pound sand. That's how I run my business. I enjoy it, okay? I love working. I genuinely do. I despise sitting in an office, sending emails and stuff, right? I hate that. I hate that. I love working. I love being out in the field. I love doing work, okay? So that's just how I roll, right? But I'm starting to really question when I'm seeing more and more of these big failures like this, right? There's clearly not someone supervising. There's not someone out there making sure that they're running the job right. And it's a bummer. It truly is. It's a bummer that this kind of work happens if someone is not holding someone's hands. I don't like micromanaging. Micromanaging, it's silly, but unfortunately, this is what happens if someone is not there supervising the entire crew. How many people do you think were on that job? Like I said, it takes like 10 people to move those boxes, okay? So I bet you they had somewhere between probably 6 to 10 people on that job, okay? And not one of the 6 to 10 people didn't think when someone was taking parts out of the box that it was a not so smart move. Not one person thought, hey, this giant baffle that's huge is just not needed, you know, and then someone just threw it in the trash. Like, what goes through people's brains? And I hate to be a jerk. I don't want to sound like I'm up on a high horse, but come on, common sense. And I know. I got in trouble years ago from one of my employees when I had the same discussion about something similar. It's common sense. And it's not so common to everybody else. And it's like, it should be. It should be. Okay? This is unacceptable, this kind of work. It really is. Okay? It's just, I don't know what else to say. So here's the deal. I made a temporary baffle. It looks stupid. I know. It's made out of cardboard and foil tape and whatever. I know it's dumb. But guess what? The customer's serving beer right now. Okay? So I did what I had to do to get the customer operational because, see, here's the thing. Before this refrigerator was replaced, right, the left side refrigerator was working. The right side was not. So they only lost 4 or 5 kegs of beer in the right refrigerator because it was completely down. But the left side was still cooling, and the beer lines were still running through the right side cooler. So they'd have to waste about half a pitcher of beer to clear the beer lines, the warm beer in there. But once they got serving beer, it was pumping from the left cooler that was still working, right? This one wasn't working at all anymore because they were freezing the beer lines because of the way that they installed it, right? And the coil was icing up and it was just causing problems. So I felt bad for the customer, you know, and I didn't do anything wrong. My employees didn't do anything wrong, right? We went in there and it's just like, oh my gosh, you would never think that someone would have taken something from a refrigerator, all right? So we did our best. I went back today. It was actually today. It's August 19th. I'm sitting in my office editing this because I was like, this is a really great video. So I decided to make it for today. Pushed past some other footage that I had, right? So, you know, I'm going to send emails galore. I don't even know how I want to approach this because I really don't like throwing people under the bus in emails. I really don't. I don't like to get involved in he said, she said, and finger pointing and stuff. Like, I just don't. I'd just as soon tell the customer that we need these 2 parts and then just let them figure it out. I really would, but inevitably, I think that they're going to quiz me on this one, and I'm going to have to explain everything that happened. And this is unacceptable. So, you know, I think what's going to have to happen, and I know the customer's going to agree with me, is I'm going to have to figure out a way to supervise these jobs for them, you know? I don't know what else to do, you know? Now, to be fair, the customer wanted me to go out and do the startup, and that's kind of what I was doing here, was going out. My initial visit, I went out and noticed that the temperature controller was broken. They sent an email after the unit was installed, and they said, there's something wrong, there's a piece missing, like whatever. So I went out there and I was like, well, the temp control is broken. And it was iced up the first day that I was there, but I didn't mess with anything. I didn't look any further because temp control is broken. I'm not even going to try to waste my time troubleshooting. We need to change the control first. So we ordered the control, and then my technician actually went out. I was there doing something else that day, but my technician went out there, changed the control, and that was basically yesterday, August 18th. And then I got a call yesterday evening saying, hey, it's still not working right. And then here we are, August 19th. Okay, so I went out super early this morning, figured it out, watched the box satisfy, turn on and off multiple times, right? So the solution is, like I mentioned in the video, swap the boxes. If they swap the boxes, we'll have to skin the top of the box with stainless steel where the tap heads are going. We'll have to cover that up. The one that has the tap heads on it's going to go to the left. The one that doesn't is going to go to the right. They'll have to re-drill holes in the right side cooler, put tap heads in it. Then they can drill holes out the side of the boxes, and they won't be impeding anything with the condenser areas, because they really shouldn't be drilling into those areas ever. You never know what you're going to hit. It's just a bad idea. So then I guess I'll probably get them a proper channel made too, which getting that channel is going to be interesting, but I'll get them a proper channel made and we'll probably have to fill that void with stainless steel and do it right. Okay, we'll make sure that this is done right and it's working correctly. When I do that, we'll make sure that the box is no longer plugged into a three-way extension cord, like that just. And you know the other thing too, and I think I mentioned it in the video, the new box is propane. It's flammable refrigerant. How lucky are they that they didn't hit that flammable refrigerant line with the hole saw that was really, really hot after they just drilled through, you know, a bunch of stainless steel, and they're lucky something didn't go boom. These people are allowed to breathe. That's all I can say. All right, I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. You guys get to hear me rant and complain and all this stuff. It is what it is. I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of negative comments about how stop being a baby and stop whining and just fix it and shut up. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm whining, okay? I just found this hilarious and totally insane at the same time. If you haven't already, please consider checking out my website, hvacrvideos.com. I've got cool merchandise available on there, helps to support the channel, hats, beanies, sweaters, all that good stuff, okay? Check it out. If you're interested in supporting the channel, though, the easiest way to do so is literally watch this video from beginning to end. Now, those that are hearing this message right now, you're watching it till the end, so thank you very much, okay? Couple other ways you can help support the channel if you want to purchase any tools. Go to truetechtools.com. If you use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, on checkout, you get an 8% discount on majority of the items on their website. When you use that, not only do you get a discount, but I get a small commission from the purchase. Great way. It's an affiliate commission, right? Great way to help support the channel. You can also support the channel via PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Those are all other great ways to do so. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one.